Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Friday, October the 7th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined, as usual, by my partner in crime here, Mr. Josh Crash Davis. Are you ready for some baseball playoffs?
I am ready. I wish, of course, I wish my Brewers could have made it in. That's a little bit disappointing, but I am ready for the playoffs. The end of the regular season was kind of weird, so I'm definitely looking forward to the playoffs and getting back to normal lineups and regular pitch counts and that kind of thing. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. I mean, we don't have to second guess who's getting pinch hit for, what, like you said, what the pitch count is. I mean, it's all, everything goes now. It's real. So we'll be able to evaluate everything top to bottom, pitchers, hitters, break it all down. And I love it. Even looking at the Vegas lines, you got much lower totals. You've got really interesting lineups. And I mean, this is when it's really fun. I love the playoffs in any DFS sport, because you really do get the true full look at, the best of what you got available.
What do you think of this format? How do you feel about this 3-game first round format instead of the 1 game for wild card?
Oh, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. You play for 6.5 months
And play
162 games.
Yeah.
You have a bad inning and you're gone. I mean,
Right.
It makes no sense at all. So
Yeah.
I think this format, I love the extended teams that are in. It gives cities, able to root for their teams.
Mhm.
And I like 3 games. You get a much truer feel for, who should go on. I think it's
kind of reminds me of college, like the College World Series or whatever. Like they have the 3-game playoffs leading up to it. So kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. I love it. I apologize, my voice. I don't get it. I'm feeling better. I'm on the good side of this thing, but it's still attacking my voice. So I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be hoarse for the rest of my life. Who knows? But here I am. I'm hoarse and I'm going after it. But I'm fired up. I mean, this again, being a basketball purist, I do love March Madness and the NBA playoffs and all of that. But as far as just true DFS fan and DFS provider, October is my favorite month of the year.
Yeah.
You've got prime NFL. We've got NBA starting, MLB playoffs. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yep. I'm with you totally.
Yeah. Another thanks out there to Rick Rosen. Yesterday, he jumped on with us for our NFL pod. And by the way, so that was the key. We said it a few times. Play both defenses. and by the great call, your defense was the best play.
Yeah. Yeah. The Broncos defense, the Colts defense was right there with them. And then the kickers, I think Chase McLaughlin for the Colts actually outscored both defenses. So
he was right there. I mean, it was kicker defense, but it was just one of those games. It was a disgusting game.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe that game would be, kicker defense were your top 3 plays.
Exactly. No doubt. But baseball, we get it going. The cool thing is these early games in this first rounds all start at 12:07. So we're going to be coming on at 10:45 like this every day to break down the whole 4 games. And then we'll adjust that as teams get eliminated, try to get back to more of a normal time. But we want to break them all down so you could play the whole slate together, because there's a lot of money to be made. That's the other beauty of playing MLB playoffs in DFS. This is the prime time to grab a lot of that NFL carryover money from the NFL players. And now next week with basketball coming in, same thing. So you're going to get some dead money, some overlay. It's fun times for sure. Yeah. All right, let's talk about a couple of things here. First of all, I want to say hello to our people in chat. we have a new winner for first time. I think DePrince.
Oh, nice.
Yes, DePrince beat out Nathan Feudy by 3 minutes. I'm sorry, Nathan. You got Trump today. DePrince is the king today. But still, Nathan, we appreciate you getting in there early. Niles Simmons with an early show up. Payne Blank SM, Dead Presidents, is there. Ryan Belosic. I don't know if Ryan's been in there maybe once, but if you're new or becoming a new everyday listener, we love having you with us, Ryan. RJ, Rose. I can't even sing with my scratchy voice. Rose's in there with us. Abe Lincoln, the president. I don't remember having Abe Lincoln in there.
I don't either.
Let's see. JP, it's Roscoe Sweet Shop fan for life. Okay, Abe Lincoln, welcome to the family. We love having you in there. JT, Doug L, Squatch Happens, one of our ticket winners yesterday. Tony A, always jumping in. We love Tony A. And of course, Mr. Rodney Pollard, who's usually one of the first ones in, but this early time must have thrown him. But Rodney's with us. That's all we care about. Alan Hayes, good morning, my friend. And that is it. So we have
Roscoe. I gotta say something here. So Roscoe, what he's talking about is Sweatshop Fan for Life. Him and I used to be in a group called DFS Sweatshop like 6 years ago. So that's
you're kidding.
That. Yeah. Yep. So that
is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Glad
it took him that long to get over here.
Well, I hadn't talked to him in a while, so yeah, he just happened to stumble upon us, I guess. So
my daughter Lindsay turned 23 yesterday, my beautiful daughter. And every time I see Abe Lincoln, when she was little in school, she was the cutest thing in the world. And she was learning her presidents. She called him Abraham Linky. Linky. Yeah. So every time I see that, I'll think of my daughter, Mr. Lincoln. I'm glad you're in there, though. All right. So we have a nice group, much bigger than I thought here for a Friday morning. But happy Friday. And I think we got enough time in to let everybody zip in here with us. The game starts, first game starts in about an hour and 20 minutes. So we have plenty of time for the 4 games. And the great part, Crash, is we don't have any weather issues.
Right.
So no worries of having to fade anything or worry about delays, anything like that. So that's one plus, because you get in October in some of these, northern towns, you don't know what's going to happen. But we're clear and good to go today. So that is great news. I also want to thank our presenting sponsor. We mentioned we had a terrific guy on yesterday. Rick joined us from Boom Fantasy. And if you want to join, give us a shot, because if you connect through the link here on Twitter, if you're watching live on Twitter, we have a link in there for Boom Fantasy. Also on YouTube, same thing. Or you can go to our website, dfscoachtalk.com. There's a link there. If we get 25 new folks this week, Rick's going to come back next Thursday and give away a signed NFL jersey to one of our listeners. So let's give that a shot. We also have our Boom picks coming up at the end of the show as well. All right. Friday MLB Slate vibes are good. King of all trades, how are you, my friend? Great to have you in there with us. Are you ready to attack this 4-game slate, my friend?
I am. I'm definitely ready.
The early game, 12:07. It is Tampa Bay Rays at the Cleveland Guardians, and a big total here. How about 5.5, Crash? First time we've seen that this year.
Yeah, that's crazy low.
Yeah, cool, but nice weather in Cleveland, 54 degrees. Wind blowing in from left field at 13 miles an hour, so advantage pitchers. And 2.66 implied for Tampa, 2.84 for the Guardians. Shane McClanahan, the lefty, 6.3K against Shane Bieber, 9.3K. Lineups are out. and confirmed it's for Tampa. It's Diaz, Franco, Arozarena, Ramirez, Choi, Margot, Bethancourt, Walls, and Siri. For the Guardians, it's Quan, Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Gonzalez, Naylor, Miller, Jimenez, Hedges, and Straw. So there we go. Game 1, give us your take, Crash.
Yeah, I like the righties for Cleveland against the lefty McClanahan. They gave up, or McClanahan, I should say, gave up 5 runs the last time he faced them. Now, that was at the end of July, so it's been a little while. But McClanahan did allow 4 and 5 runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. So he has been a little bit shaky of late. And I like the Guardians at home. And I like the righties, Rosario, Ramirez. I mean, Ramirez is a switch hitter, but I like him, and Gonzalez and Miller would probably be my top 4 from the Guardians. And I don't know how heavy I'm going to stack. I mean, it's a small slate, but they're probably in a GPP my favorite stack.
Okay. For me, I'll say right off the bat here, I'm not going to stack today. Here's my theory, Crash. We have enough information and this slate of teams. And I know, and it's cool. You don't have to, everybody doesn't have to do it the same way.
Right.
And there are some people out there that think you're crazy if you don't play 150 max lineups. You're crazy if you don't go 5-3 stacks every spot. You know what? If you want to do that, go for it. I just don't think for the normal player, and that's the Coach Talk family, we want to hand build some lineups that are going to take some things down. We want great ROI. And we believe with contest selection and bankroll management, we have really honed in on how to do that consistently, successfully for over 8 years. So that's what we're doing. Now, I do normally go mini stacks, 3-3-2, or sometimes I'll go as much as 4, a 4-2-2, something of that nature. But because of the way this pans out today, now it may be different tomorrow, but as I broke this down and built some teams, I was finding 2 here, 2 there, 1 off.
Yeah.
I think you can pick your spots better in the playoffs. You're not going to get pinch hit for unless you're at the very bottom of the order, which I'm not going to have to use wraparound stacks and all that.
Right.
So you won't see me diving on stacks too much here. It's going to be more picking the spots. And I really do think that's a smart way to do it. Certainly the way to do it in cash and single entry. And I don't think it's the worst thing to do even in tournaments. So wanted to put that out there first. Secondly, my pay-up pitcher is in this game, and it's Shane Bieber. I love Shane Bieber in this game. I like the matchup against Tampa. I like the cooler temps. I like the wind blowing in, and Bieber's been on a roll. He had 1 start against Tampa not too long ago that was just okay, but he had a dominant performance against them earlier in the year. Plus, I love the leverage in the ownership compared to some of the other pitchers. So 2 things. 1, how you doing, Mr. Few? Thanks for joining in. Tony A., you ask and you receive. Let's look at pitching ownership so I can talk a little bit more in depth about my play, Mr. Shane Justin Bieber. So DK ownership projection right now, Scherzer coming in at 41% ownership, 35% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 31% for Bieber, so he's second with a 33% chance of being top pitcher. Then it's Alek Manoah at 24 with a 26. Luis Castillo, 24-24. Darvish, 24-24. Talk about spread out.
Wow, yeah.
Shane McClanahan, this surprised me, 23-21. So still a ton of respect there. Yeah. Zach Wheeler, 20-17. And then the only guy sort of getting the short end of the stick here, and he's a Cardinal, so that always scares you. Their pitchers are always good, is Quintana, 10.5 and 17, though. So the best leverage mark on the board. So nobody, according to that, should be counted out. Yeah. On FanDuel, Crash, it's 32 for Scherzer and 16, top 1%. 22 Bieber with 16, 20 Castillo with 12, 8 for Darvish. So after Scherzer, Bieber, Castillo, it plummets on Fanduel because you only have one pitcher. It's so Darvish is 8 with 12. Manoah's only 6.5 with 13. McClanahan only 6.5 with 11. Wheeler 5 with 9. Quintana 1 with 8. So again, still getting respect in possibility, but not ownership. And then we're going to go all the way down to Yahoo here. We're covering all bases today, man. And we love Yahoo here at Coach Talk. Scherzer 44 with 37. Bieber 42, 35. McClanahan 27 with 23. Darvish 25, 25. Manoah 24, 24. Castillo 21, 22. Wheeler's only 9 with 17. And Quintana's only 8 with 15. So pretty balanced as far as how the three sites, the ownership's going right now. To me, it came down to a very, very, very tough decision between Bieber and Scherzer. I know Scherzer is the biggest game, tough, most competitive bulldog, maybe that we've seen in our generation of pitching. I mean, he's that much of a dog out there. But, I just felt like, with the weather being 66 in New York, nicer weather, not wind affecting things. San Diego does have some good hitters that have started to hit toward the end of the season. Opposite in Cleveland, you got Tampa, who's scuffled a little bit. Bieber, who's coming off a start against them not that long ago that I think is going to tighten him up and get him ready for this. And then with the weather being cooler, and then the leverage piece was the final decision for me. So I say all that to say Bieber's my play there. Not going to be going with any Tampa bats. And as you'll see my theme today, not going to have a ton of Guardians here. A one-off or two guys possibly. Certainly Ramirez, if I can fit him at 5'9". But I'd like one of the other bats between Rosario, Gonzalez, and Naylor. Those are the three guys I'm looking at. More than likely either Rosario or Gonzalez. Those are the two guys I'm looking as my second hitting choices for the Guardians.
Right.
So that's it, man. That's what I got.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Second game. We're going to move to checking everything. I don't want to miss anything. No stone unturned. We don't have confirmed lineups on game 2 yet. It's a 2:07 game. Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals. 6.5 is the total. Perfect weather in St. Louis for baseball. And it's split down the middle in this 6.5 total. 3.25 for both sides. So this is really a head scratcher in Vegas. Zach Wheeler is starting game 1 for Philly at 7.2K. And surprisingly, really, I thought Jose Quintana starting game 1 for the Cardinals, the lefty. I think that has a lot to do with it. With Schwarber and Harper on the other side. We just got the St. Louis Cardinals lineup this second. So Quintana's at 5.3K. That lineup that dropped 3 seconds ago, Lars Nootbaar's leading off. Oh, no, my least favorite Cardinal. Then it goes Pujols second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Goldschmidt, Arenado, Donovan, Carlson, Dickerson, Molina, and Edman. So really, St. Louis here, I don't know, is the manager overthinking it, shaking up the lineup movement a little there, and that pitcher? It's a little dangerous if you ask me. But, what's your take on this game?
Well, I'm just looking at it here. They had for a long time when he came back, they had Tyler O'Neill right there with Goldschmidt and Arenado. So it looks like they've kind of moved Pujols right there in front of them. Kind of like O'Neill used to be when he was batting in the 2-hole. So that to me kind of seems like their line of thinking, but it's an interesting lineup for sure. But I like Pujols and Arenado, and maybe even Donovan and Newbar too. I like a few of these
Wow.
Cardinals bats. I think that people are kind of overlooking the Cardinals. I know they kind of fell off towards the end of the year, but there for a few weeks, they were the best team in baseball. It was probably mid-August or so. They were just on fire, and I think they'll come out of the playoffs hot. So I like the Cardinals today.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. This was the game that I had the least feel for. I'm concerned about that lineup a little bit. It just seems a little extreme to me to go with this lineup in the playoffs when it's not a lineup you've gone with this season. I mean, I don't remember this exact lineup.
Me either.
Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but it just seems like just an interesting play here. Coach Mom's in here giving me crap. I knew she was going to jump on today. I knew it, but it's cool. I don't know. I don't feel good about it. I think I do respect Wheeler. I don't know. I mean, he's been hurt so much and not really been, stretched totally this year. So it's a touch and go game. It's my least favorite game on the board. And I'm going to be avoiding this game a lot, Crash.
Okay.
I respect Wheeler. I'm not a Quintana fan, but he's been decent. I think that the bats I'd like to get to from the Philly side are Hoskins and Realmuto and Bohm. Those would be the three guys I would gear towards, but I don't want to certainly stack all three, but their prices aren't bad. Having two of those guys would be nice. And then maybe a one-off for the Cardinals for me, but this will probably be one of my least owned games. I just don't have a good feel. It feels like one of those grind out 4-3 kind of games where nothing really happens that much. But I don't know.
My favorite play in this game is Quintana, and it's largely because of his price. I mean, he's $5,300 on DraftKings. That's just absolutely absurd. Yeah. And then the other thing that's interesting to me about this game is the ownership. Philadelphia is one of the highest projected owned stacks, and I don't really see why. Quintana allowed 1 run or less in his last 6 starts. So, I mean, he's been pitching pretty well of late. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. The Phillies were able to sneak in just because they were the team that sucked the least between them and the Brewers. I mean, it's not like they're playing great baseball. So
is Quintana your value pitcher?
He is my value pitcher. Yeah.
Wow. That's sneaky. I mean, he's lowest owned on the slate.
Yeah.
I don't quite have the guts to go there. That's why, I mean, I just don't have a good enough feel for this game to really want to put too many chips in the middle of the pot. I really don't.
Right.
So, that's the feel. Anybody in chat feel any different on this game? Anybody have a hot take? Because this is the game I'm just not real comfortable with. We definitely will get to stacks, my friend. No doubt about it. Without question. All right. Let's move to game 3.
Yeah, I think Toronto's lineup's been out for a little bit.
Yeah, we have both lineups out on that side, so that's good. So let's go to game 3. It's a 4:07 start, Seattle and Toronto. It's a little too cool, I think, in Toronto for the roof to be open. So I believe it'll be closed, but we will get confirmation on that. As of now, I believe it is closed. 4:07 games, 7 is the total, 3.31 implied for the Mariners, 3.69 for the Blue Jays. Luis Castillo, 7.7K against Alek Manoah, 6.9K. And here are the lineups. Brenton, if you're listening, he's a massive Seattle Mariners fan, one of our members. And I love it for the Seattle fans. It's been forever since they've been in the playoffs. So congratulations to Mariners fans. But their lineup's pretty stout. Rodriguez, France, Suarez, Raleigh batting cleanup. They're the catcher. Haniger batting 5th. Santana, Kelenic, Frazier, and Crawford. So their lineup's a little bit different too. On the Toronto side, it's Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Kirk, Hernandez, Chapman, Tapia, Jansen. So they have both catchers in there, and Merrifield batting ninth. So what an interesting set of circumstances here from a strategic standpoint. It's almost a pick'em game in Vegas. Toronto's a slight favorite, but this should be a great game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Once again, we have $6,900 Alek Manoah on DraftKings and 10-8, most expensive on Fanduel. I mean, what are they doing?
It is very interesting.
It's ridiculous.
The pricing's all over the place.
Yeah. So Manoah is my other top, value play, whatever, on DraftKings.
Right.
And one of my favorite pitchers too. So I kind of have three pitchers, I guess, because I have the two pay-up pitchers, at least on FanDuel, and then the value pitcher in Quintana. But he's not even really a value on FanDuel. But yeah, I like Toronto here. Raimel Tapia is actually my BVP play of the day. He's 2,300 on DraftKings, 2,500 on FanDuel, 636 against Castillo. He has 7 hits and 11 at bats, 4 singles, a double, a triple, and a home run. Yeah. And you're gonna need those kind of plays in the playoffs where we have a small number of games and everyone's going to be gravitating towards the big names. It's going to be these X factor players that are going to make the difference in your tournaments. So those are the guys I'm targeting.
No doubt. And I'm on a very similar page. Manoah is my value pitcher on DraftKings, and I will have him paired up with Bieber in most of my lineups. On FanDuel, 0% ownership for me on Manoah. As you said, he's 10-8, the highest price pitcher. Yeah. So what in the heck are these? I mean, you talk about crazy all over the place pricing here. It really creates different builds. So, you really have to look at this from a multitude of different perspectives here because the pricing's all over the place. Yahoo's the same way, really. I mean, you've got Bieber, Scherzer, Darvish, and Manoah all priced at about the same at the top on Yahoo. So that confuses things. And then, as we said, the high 10-8 for Manoah, then 10-6 Scherzer, 10-6 Bieber, 10-3 Darvish, 10K Wheeler. So that's FanDuel. Yeah. And then, you go with DraftKings, which is totally different.
Right.
You've got 9-8 Scherzer, 9-3 Bieber, 8-4 Darvish, and then it falls off a cliff. 7-7 Castillo, 6-9 Manoah, 6-3 McClanahan, and 5-3 Quintana. So if there's ever been a reason to build your lineups completely different, if you play DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo, today's the day you have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to. I mean, I like Bieber across the board. I'm convinced he's my buy-up pitcher. But my secondary pitcher on all three sites are going to be completely different. And so, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So my value pitcher for sure is Manoah. I think he's in a good spot here. Seattle, first time in for a lot of their guys, that have been on that team, the young guys. So, again, sometimes your first time to the dance, you get a little starry-eyed where even though Toronto's such a super young team, these guys have been competitive the last couple of years. So they've seen it and done it a little bit more. But I think you can get, to a couple of these Toronto bats for sure against Castillo. I do like the way the order's set up. And the pricing's a little different on DraftKings. The Blue Jays were so ridiculously priced for so long, but that's not the same here. Springer's price is way down. Bichette's is way down. Even Vladdy's is down. So 4-9 Springer, 4-7 Bichette, 5K flat Guerrero, 4-2 Kirk in the cleanup spot, 4-4 Teoscar. I mean, those are fair prices. They were all 5-7 and all crazy pricing before. So I do want to get to a couple of these Toronto Blue Jays. Definitely 2 If I did have a 3-man today, it would be Blue Jays. I just think hitting at home, being in this position, I think they have a good edge in this game. I do like Toronto to win the game. I think they're in a good spot. Tapia is also my BVP for all the reasons you said. I won't reread those stats, but at a sneaky play at 2-3, he really makes everything work, and his BVP is undeniable. Plus, I love when you can throw a cheap guy in that can grab you a stolen bag,
Yeah.
So I love that play. As far as Seattle goes, because I'll be keying on Manoah, probably won't go there. Where I'm fading Manoah on Fanduel, I wouldn't mind getting to a Raleigh. I think Raleigh's a good power hitting catcher that can take a spot there for you and get a sneaky homer. We know Suarez has been super hot. Ty France has come through for us in a big way. And of course, soft spot for Mitch Haniger about a week or so ago was our takedown guy. But I don't know, at 4-6 dropping down to the 5-hole, probably not going to go there today.
Yeah, I have Cal Riley as well. And then
is it Riley or Raleigh?
Raleigh, yeah.
Is it okay?
Riley, but it's Raleigh, yeah. And then as a value, I have JP Crawford. Had a hard time finding a shortstop that I liked, so I just went down to the value play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. A couple of questions. Let's get to those right away. Ty says, yep, Tappy's a good call for both of us at that cheap price. You can't beat it. Abraham Linky says, how do you feel about McClanahan? Neither one of us is really on him. He's been off his game a little bit towards the end of the year. I mean, he's not 1,000,000% fade for me with the weather and the conditions blowing in there. I think McClanahan can be a second pitcher in. I'm not going to have any ownership on him. I don't think he's the worst play, but I'm not going there. And I believe Crash feels the same way, correct?
I do.
And then as far as Whit Merrifield, not for me. He just has not been good since they picked him up.
Right.
I don't want a guy batting that low, and there's pinch hit possibility, so not going to go there. Anything else you have to add there, Crash?
Nope. Ready for that last game.
All right. We go to game 4, and how about we hit that stacks ownership, and then we'll attack game 4, and we'll be ready to roll. So I'm going to go check out the updated stack ownership for DraftKings right now. The Phillies, number 1 at 17.5. Seattle, 15.5. Toronto, 15. The Mets, 13. Tampa, 11. Cleveland, 11. St. Louis, 9. And San Diego, 8.
What's your thought on Philly being the highest owned stack on DraftKings? I know that Quintana's that cheap, that cheap pitcher, and people are thinking that might be a leverage play, but he's not getting ownership. So I don't really understand that.
I think the bottom line is people are wanting to attack Quintana because they think he's the worst pitcher of this group. Yeah, and that's the only reason that I think he's getting ownership here.
Yeah.
And some of the prices on the St. Louis guys have come down a little bit. The weather's good there. That's the only thinking that I can come up with. I mean, I'm not on a Phillies stack by any stretch, but I guess that's the thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked that St. Louis is second. Seattle is second.
Seattle's second. I know.
I'm just baffled. But I don't think anybody really knows where to stack today. And part of more reason why I don't feel stack is necessary today. I just don't. FanDuel, let's look at their stack situation. Philly 18, Seattle 18, the Mets 17. So almost tied at the top. Toronto 12, Cleveland 11, Tampa Bay 11, St. Louis 8.5, and the Padres 6.5. So my
lineups are going to be ultra contrarian. I have the Cardinals is one of my favorite stacks, along with the Guardians, and then Quintana is my GPP pitcher. So yeah, it's
You
going
got
to be
the upside down standings for you.
Yeah.
I'll finish up with Yahoo. Toronto, 20% attacking Castillo on Yahoo. 14.5 Philly, 13 Seattle, 11.5 St. Louis, 11 the Mets, 11 Cleveland, 10 San Diego, and 9.5 Tampa. Wild, man. All over the place.
Unreal. Yeah.
It is one of the strangest group of listings, I think, this year. It's amazing.
For the opening day of the playoffs, it's unbelievable.
But
I think a lot of it has to do with you don't have that, that Dodgers or that Yankees or that Astros stack or something like that, and then you don't have a whole bunch of ace pitchers. So
exactly,
it's very interesting.
People are all fishing around. You have all A minuses, if you will, other than Scherzer and Bieber, I guess would be A's. But I think people are just trying to figure it out, and it's a different situation than they've been used to this year, no doubt about it. All right, let's that gives you the feel for this last game, and we do not have lineups confirmed for either team. But as we said, good weather again, 66, wind a little left to right, but nothing much, and only 6 for a total here. Padres Mets, 2.72 implied for San Diego, and 3.28 for New York. So they are favored in this game. Minus 153 on the Mets side with Scherzer. Darvish, 8.4K. Scherzer, 9.8 on DraftKings. So a very, very interesting game. Darvish has been sharp lately. We know Scherzer's, like we said, one of the best competitors of all time. So break it down for us, Crash.
Yeah, I like the Mets. Max Scherzer is my favorite pitcher on the slate. And Pete Alonso is my home run call. 31 of his 40 home runs were against right-handed pitchers this year. Yeah, and I like some of these lefties for value, like Vogelback and Naquin. Also like as a super value play, if he's in the lineup, Tomas Nido, just to kind of round out your lineup with a catcher if you don't go to Cal Raleigh. So, yeah. And then on the San Diego side, I guess maybe Juan Soto, but I'm probably not going to go there. I don't think I'm going to go there, but I may end up going there in one of my lineups. But he's not a top play for me, but he would be my favorite play from the Padres side.
Who say that? Who was it again?
Juan Soto.
Yeah, Soto for sure. No, I don't disagree with that at all. For me, I mean, it's brutally hard not having Scherzer as my top pay up, and I may have a secondary lineup where I do go a Scherzer Bieber lineup and then just try to go, super cheap on the hitting side as a secondary lineup. But Manoah on again, that each site is completely different, so you have to treat them differently. But on DraftKings, unfortunately, I will be fading Scherzer. He's not my fade pitcher, by the way. Wheeler's my fade pitcher, if I didn't mention it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Sorry. Yeah, mine was Castillo.
Castillo. So. Okay. I just, it's the Cardinals, and that just, and Wheeler just hasn't been through the rigors this year enough, in my opinion.
Right.
With having so much time off. But the only reason, I went I explained the reasons why earlier. I slightly went Bieber over Scherzer for those reasons. And I do like the middle of this lineup for the Padres. I mean, I'll probably have a Padre or two just because I think they're going to be so much lower owned.
Yeah.
So many people, Scherzer's the chalk. So people aren't going to take Machado, Soto, Cronenworth, guys like that if they're, putting Scherzer in there. So that, brings me to them more because Soto's 5.5, Machado's 5.4. So they're expensive.
They are.
And they're going to be lower owned because of that Scherzer ownership. So I think they're both really good plays, Crash. And if Max battles and still wins, that doesn't mean he won't give up a couple of dingers, solo dingers. Yeah. And I think those two guys, I like Soto, Machado, and Cronenworth. I think all three of them are very dangerous in this game.
Okay.
So I will have some Padres. As far as Mets, I'd like to get some Mets exposure as well. I think if I don't go Soto and Machado, then I do like your call of Alonso on the other side. I think that's a smart play. I think Lindor is in a decent spot here. And Nimmo and McNeil, the lefties, have both been steady throughout. McNeil especially is one of my favorite plays. And he's a really contrarian home run call for me tonight.
Okay.
And
he's your home run call?
He's my home run call, and he's not a massive power hitter. He just I think he can square up Darvish. He's hitting the ball well right now, and he's my contrarian home run call.
We do have some news on the Mets. Starling Marte was added to their wild card roster.
Oh no,
he was added to their roster. Now we don't know if he's going to be in the starting lineup today, but if he is, he has a 7 for 17, 5 singles, a double, and a home run, 4.12 average against Yu Darvish. So
wow,
he's one of my top plays if he's in the lineup.
Boy, that would change things a lot.
And we won't know, unfortunately, until probably 5 Eastern, 6 Eastern.
If that. I guess, the good thing about that, though, is you've got all those big sticks in this lineup where you could easily do a 2v2 if you want to put Marte in and take either Alonso, Machado, or Soto out. You could make that move late.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I have Soto in there right now in one of my lineups, and if Marte's in, I'm going to slot Marte in. So,
yeah. All right. I mean, I think it's good. I like the hitting a little bit more here than probably most, even though these two pitchers are studs without question. But again, you got to pick your spots here. There's no easy peasy in this stuff today. This separates the men from the boys, if you ask me. So no doubt about it. Let's see. Doug L says, go ahead.
They just moved him into the expected lineup. They've got Marte batting 5th in their expected lineup.
Okay.
Yeah.
That definitely changed some things. Let me click on and see what it has. Yeah. All right. Well, let's stay. The good part about that is we will update things as they go, obviously, every minute in Discord. So if you want to become a member at DFS Coach Talk, if you join right now with the Luka special for the NBA, you get the entire MLB playoffs. Once you're a member at Coach Talk, you get everything that we've got. So come aboard, grab that Luka special, go to @DFS Coach Talk. You can sign up right there on the members page. We'd love to have you get everything we've got, all of our NFL, all of our basketball, and then all of our MLB. So great time to do that. Also, if you want to give Boom Fantasy a try, they have the greatest props in the business. We had Rick on last night. They're going to take over this industry. They're in 26 states and growing. So we have a link attached right here on YouTube and Twitter on our website. Click the link, download the app, dive on there and play some of those props. We're going to share 2 before we head out today of our top plays there. Also, if you're on YouTube right now, I see that we don't have as many thumbs up or likes. It only takes a second to do that. This is in front of the paywall. 7 days a week, MLB. We'll be doing 7 day a week, NBA. All we need is to move up that algorithm. Thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the alert in the upper corner so you know when our podcast posts. So that is what we're looking at here. Let's go with a review of our plays here.
Okay.
I'll go first, Crash. You got to play different on all 3 sites. That's my number one thing today. The pricing is too dramatically different on the slates.
I agree.
You can't play the same guys and say, I'm just playing this guy everywhere. Now, Bieber, I can sort of do that because he's priced higher on all of them. But for the most part, you got to pick your spots. So I like on DraftKings, Bieber with Manoah. Bieber's probably my play on Fanduel where it's a single. On Yahoo, it's going to change because you've got a bulk of guys together at the top where I actually could get a Bieber and possibly go with a Scherzer or something of that nature. My fade pitcher is Wheeler. My BVP Tapia. My home run call is I actually have two of them. I went with McNeil, and I also like Rhys Hoskins against Quintana in that game as well. And I'm not stacking anybody. So those that are listening in that say you can't win in baseball without stacks, watch me. I'm not stacking today.
I'm with you. My top pitcher is Max Scherzer, and then right below there, for my second favorite pitcher, I have Alek Manoah. My value is Jose Quintana, my GPP pitcher. He's going to be the tournament pitcher that I use. My fade is Luis Castillo, and then my BVP is also Raimel Tapia, and my home run call is Pete Alonso. My stacks, if you want to call it that, it would be probably the Mets, Blue Jays, and Guardians.
Mets, Blue Jays, and Guardians. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. How about we give our top 2 plays on Boom Fantasy? Go to @PlayBoomFantasy. You can go to look it up at Boom Fantasy, at Boom DFS. You're going to get all of the same thing. What's your top play? Give us your number 1.
My number 1 play is the Pick'em favorites, and it is Pete Alonso over 0.5 hits.
Okay.
My number 1 play. My number 2 play, Nolan Arenado over 0.5 hits.
Okay. Keeping it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is Mr. Bieber over 5.5 strikeouts. I think he's going to be in really good form today. My second play is Mr. Zach Wheeler over 1.5 earned runs. I do think they get to him a bit. And so those are my top 2 Boom Fantasy plays today. All right, my friend, we've got 45 minutes, I believe, something like that. 40 minutes, somewhere in there.
So lock.
First pitch.
34.
34. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any final words of wisdom? Any final questions from our Coach Talk family here? Great group in here this morning.
What, third baseman? Nolan Arenado.
You're going Nolan Arenado, huh?
Your third base, yeah. Him or Ramirez. I like them both, but yeah.
I love either Machado or Ramirez. Those are my 2 today.
Okay.
Any other last-minute questions? Any final words, Crash?
Yeah, we better get going to post our lineups. That's my
All right, my friend. All right, it's a great start. Again, we'll be back the same stuff tomorrow, 10:45. Little twist tomorrow, we're going to throw in a 2 brains are better than 1 FanDuel GPP. We like to do that on Saturdays. So 10:45 a.m. Crash and I'll be on. Same breakdown, same schedule of games, except we'll add that in with our Boom plays as well. So really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for jumping in with us. And certainly good luck. We'll be providing lineups for the full 4 games here shortly. We're also providing for the single San Diego Mets game this evening for our members. So we will go after it. King of Smack, I agree. Manoah, he'll be high owned on DraftKings, but low owned on FanDuel because of the pricing screw up. That's what it'll end up being.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Crash, thanks. Great job today. We'll see you first thing in the morning. Let's get some winners going, and we'll be back tomorrow when we look to crush it again in MLB, DFS, and Boom Fantasy.